What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to another Aegis Brand Studios video where we are taking a look at the most recent reveals from AMG for Marvel Crisis Protocol. In this particular video, we're going to be taking a look at half of the new reveals for Inhumans, which is going to be Gorgon. So let's go take a look at that card. And guys, remember, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like, comment, and subscribe button below. It helps the algorithm get going, helps reach more people as a result of it, which is really helpful to the channel. It doesn't take you anything. Alternatively, you can go to patreon.com/AegisBrandStudios. A couple bucks a month keeps the lights on, keeps content current, allows me to keep justifying this, and I can't thank you guys enough for that one. Anyway, into the card. So with Gorgon, we finally see the arrival of another 3-threat Inhuman, and frankly, another 3-threat in the game. We haven't been seeing as many of those lately, so it's always really nice to see another one hit the table. And on initial reaction, I do kind of like what we're seeing with Gorgon. I think he has an interesting kit to it. I think he's going to bring some good utility to the Inhumans, and potentially even some splash potential elsewhere. So jumping right into it, if we look at his stats, he's got 4-3-3 for his defenses. Pretty decent for a 3-threat character. He's got that higher physical defense and then standard energy and mystic defense. Always really good, especially when paired with the fact that all the Inhumans have that natural Inhuman reroll to them, and have some leaderships that can really kind of help out with that sort of kit, either extra power or extra rerolls for Maximus. He is 6 and 5 stamina, so he's got 11 stamina total. I really like the 6 stamina on the front side of this. Makes it a little bit harder for him to be taken down the first time around. It's a huge gulf between 5 and 6. It's actually rather surprising whenever you kind of look at how much easier it is to take down the 5 stamina characters over the 6 stamina. He's a threat 3 as we've established. He's size 2 and he's got medium movement. He does appear to be on a regular small size base. So I mean, nothing really special with his movement there. But for his attacks, so he's got a physical attack, range 2, 5 dice, 0 power. It is a builder attack. It's got a wild stun trigger for after the attack is resolved. I mean, it's pretty standard. The range 2 is probably the one part of it that is... range 2 builders are always a little difficult to work around something because you do usually have to spend a lot of time moving around trying to get within range to utilize it as best you can. Now, thankfully, the Inhumans do have ways of mitigating that through Royal Decree or through some use of some tactics cards or other superpowers. So it's not a game breaker on that one, but it's just something to keep in mind when selecting your characters. Next up, he's got an energy attack, Hoofquake. It is a beam 3, 4 dice for 0 power, and it does have a wild shock trigger. So again, this is the third character in a little bit that we're actually seeing a pretty solid beam. Now, it's not the beam 4 that we know on Gladiator or that we've seen on Crimson Dynamo, or sorry, flip that we know on Crimson Dynamo and seen on Gladiator. Beam 3 is still really good, especially along an E-shaped map. The Wild Shock, again, really solid, great way of mitigating the attacks of the enemy team right there. So yeah, I like it. 4 dice is a little rough. It's going to make it difficult to get that wild trigger on it. It puts the odds kind of low, so don't go banking on it, but again, you got some reroll, so you do have some way of mitigating that. Next up, we have the physical attack spender, God Crusher, or Goo Crusher, as the internet has lovingly referred to it so far. Range 3, 8 dice, 4 power. This one's really kind of cool. It's got a size 4 character throw on it that is a short throw after the attack is done. It is a melee, so you can throw it or choose not to, and it is away. It also does have a wild stagger condition on it, so it's really nice. Now, the downside about this one is that if you do a direct comparison to Vulture, who has, for the same power, same range, same dice, Vulture has just the throw, doesn't have the stagger. It's kind of unfortunate that we're seeing this sort of disparity between the two characters. So to really make sense of it, you kind of have to look at what the kit around them are and how it makes things different. Unfortunately, this doesn't make Vultures any better. In fact, the Inhumans probably have some better kit to support this sort of attack and this sort of character. So it's just in general a better spender all around. So again, kind of unfortunate that we're seeing that sort of disparity. As far as the superpowers go, we have an active power. It's a charge. 2 power, we know what this does. It's an action. You do a movement followed by an attack. No complaints. It's a great bit of action compression here. It means that that range 2 to a builder isn't going to be as detrimental as it is on some characters who might not have that charge. Always like it. Action compression is always very good. Next up, we have another 2 power reactability. You're going to have to deal with me first. Now, this one is a taunt. So it's an enemy character within 2 of the when an enemy character within 2 of this character targets an allied character, you can spend 2, force the attack onto Gorgon. We like taunts. It's not quite as good as like the Luke Cage taunt, because obviously he doesn't have damage reduction on it, so not as durable on it. But it's nice to have that taunt if you're pairing him with original Black Bolt for a bodyguard as well. You can actually redirect quite a few attacks, which is kind of nice. You know, tell the opponent where they're going to be attacking, not where they want to attack. And then of course he's got the Inhuman reroll, and he's got the immunity poison as pretty much most Inhumans do. So it's a really solid kit in that regard. I like it. It's nothing amazingly fancy. I think it's right on the curve for a 3-threat character, which is pretty good. Now, he does also have he shares a tactics card with Karnak, which is the Royal Guardians. It's a reactive. It's kind of like a Heroes for Hire. When an allied character within 3 of Karnak or Gorgon are attacked, they can spend 3 to play this card. You're going to place the character, like either Karnak or Gorgon, within 1 of the allied character. They take the attack, and if in this case, if Gorgon was placed and is not dazed, the attacking character will gain shock and stun. It's kind of cool. I mean, the Heroes for Hire one, because it has the throw, Comrades in Arms has the throw, they're usually a little bit more sought after because it's a bit of displacement. But a shock and a stun is not too bad to toss onto that either. And the fact that both Gorgon and Karnak have it, you have that utility of who's going to be using it. So, do I think he's worthwhile to play? Like, right off the hop, I do think he's actually a really neat-looking 3-threat character. I think he will fit in nicely with Inhumans. You know, you're going to have the dice-fixing capabilities of both the Inhumans leadership, maybe some of their tactics cards. If you're running Maximus the Mad, you're going to have it there as well. So his dice are going to be a lot more consistent than they look on paper, which means that 5-die builder might be giving you a little bit more power than you would normally be getting, which is really kind of cool. The big thing is he doesn't really bring anything amazingly special to the table. I think the biggest deal is he's got the charge action compression that he can really pair with the taunt, which makes it really nice. It makes it a little bit easier for him to get into position to protect his allies while still getting some attacks onto enemy characters, which is something where, in my opinion, Luke Cage kind of struggles a little bit because he doesn't have that action compression. So that's the trade-off. Gorgon is a little bit more mobile, whereas, Luke is a little bit more durable. So I really kind of do dig it. I do think you could probably find some places for him and some other teams. The big problem is, though, is that he's not doing anything really special or different than a lot of other 3-threat characters are. Maybe you can make an argument for, it's a discount shock beam, which isn't too shabby, especially if you have a way to maybe generate some extra power off that attack, or, generate some extra attack dice or something like that. Maybe have some fun in a Shadowland Daredevil criminal syndicate list or something like that. Obviously, he'll get a lot out of Steve 1. So yeah, I think he's a safe splash that you can put elsewhere, but I do think that there are other 3-threat characters that probably do the job that he wants to do just, a little bit better. I mean, if you're looking for pure aggression, obviously we can still look at the old standbys like Valkyrie and all that sort of stuff. If you're looking for more defensive, Luke Cage is still, a top tier 3-threat character for that. But he works great in the Inhumans leadership. It means he's going to make it a little bit easier to make affiliation and maybe have a bigger splash, or maybe even just support that 6-threat King Black Bolt that we now know is going to be in the box as well. So there we go. Share your comments below. Let me know what you think about Gorgon. If you think he's worth the 3-threat, or if you think that there's other tools that do the job a little bit better. And as always, we'll see you next time. Happy wargaming.